The 1998 Belgian Grand Prix at Spa-Francorchamps remains one of the most extraordinary and chaotic races in Formula One history, a true rollercoaster of emotion, skill, and sheer unpredictability. So iconic was the drama that even the legendary commentator Murray Walker found himself momentarily speechless, a rare moment for a man known for his passionate voice in motorsport. From monumental crashes and team controversies to unexpected triumphs and heated confrontations, this race had everything a fan could ask for, and then some.
That was mega!
Setting the stage, a riveting qualifying. Qualifying on Saturday hinted at the drama to come. The conditions were ideal, dry, cool, and perfect for a close contest. All eyes were on the McLaren duo, Mika Häkkinen and David Coulthard, who were locked in a fierce battle for pole position. Every time Coulthard shaved time off his lap, Häkkinen responded immediately with an even quicker one. It was a classic intra-team rivalry that ended with Häkkinen clinching pole by just 1/10 of a second, securing a front-row lockout for McLaren. Just behind them, Damon Hill delivered a fantastic performance, putting his Jordan in third position on the grid. Michael Schumacher and Eddie Irvine followed in fourth and fifth, respectively. Interestingly, Schumacher's best lap time was questioned due to a yellow flag infringement, but Hill ultimately managed to beat the Ferrari driver by a narrow margin. Jacques Villeneuve placed sixth, a solid result, considering he had nearly crashed his Williams the day prior. On the other hand, Mika Salo was not so fortunate. He ended up wrecking his arrows during qualifying, and his troubles were far from over. Race day. Mayhem. Chaos from the start. Sunday was expected to be dry, but Spa had other plans. Early rain made conditions extremely treacherous, catching out teams and drivers alike. Schumacher, always comfortable in the wet, topped the times in the morning warm-up session, with Irvine, Häkkinen, Giancarlo Fisichella, Ralf Schumacher and Hill not far behind. When the race began, tyre strategy became a major factor. Schumacher, Villeneuve and Jean Alesi gambled on intermediate tyres, while most of the front-runners, including the McLaren and Jordan drivers, opted for full wets. As the lights went out, Häkkinen got a decent launch, while Coulthard had a sluggish start. Villeneuve surged forward, challenging for the lead, while Hill's excessive wheel spin dropped him several places. Schumacher capitalised, moving up to third. But the true drama was about to unfold further down the field. Visibility was almost non-existent due to the spray, and in the chaos, Coulthard was clipped, possibly by Irvine, which sent his McLaren spinning across the track at high speed on the run to Eau Rouge. The result was a catastrophic pile-up involving 13 cars, with debris scattered everywhere. Cars like those of Barrichello, Trulli, Panis and Salo were left completely destroyed. Miraculously, none of the drivers were seriously hurt, though the incident would lead to nearly an hour-long delay as teams scrambled to prepare spare cars. Among the survivors was Ralf Schumacher, who skillfully avoided the carnage and lined up for the restart with 17 others. Coulthard and Irvine used their teammates' spare cars, but many others were forced to retire entirely. A second chance, and more carnage. At the restart, Damon Hill made amends for his earlier blunder by launching perfectly and overtaking both McLarens by the time they reached La Source. Häkkinen's nightmare, however, was just beginning. As he exited La Source, his McLaren spun 180 degrees, leaving him helpless as Johnny Herbert's Sauber collided with him. Both were immediately out of the race, prompting another safety car deployment. Meanwhile, Coulthard's troubles persisted. He clashed with Alexander Wurz and found himself beached in the gravel, though he was able to rejoin from the back of the field. The top 10 order under the safety car was now Hill, Schumacher, Irvine, Alesi, Villeneuve, Frentzen, Ralf Schumacher, Fisichella, Denise and Verstappen. Yes, Jos, not Max. As the safety car pulled in, Hill's Jordan on intermediates looked strong early on. He held a slender lead over Schumacher, but worsening rain soon revealed the Jordan's limitations. On lap 7, Schumacher made a clinical move at the bus stop chicane to seize the lead, demonstrating his mastery in wet conditions. Jos Verstappen would exit the race on lap 8 due to engine failure, and on lap 9, Irvine damaged his Ferrari's front wing, forcing a lengthy pit stop. Ralf Schumacher's call to switch to full wet tyres on lap 11 would later prove to be a race-defining decision. Others, like Villeneuve, attempted similar tyre changes around lap 16, but not without incident. He slid into the barriers before pitting. Hill, too, had an imperfect pit stop as the team adjusted his front wing, but he stayed in the fight. By lap 17, he was sandwiched between the Schumacher brothers, Michael comfortably leading and Ralf gaining ground. Disaster strikes Schumacher. By lap 24, Michael Schumacher had stretched his lead to nearly 30 seconds over Hill. But the race was about to take yet another dramatic turn. While attempting to lap Coulthard, who was cautiously navigating the treacherous conditions, Schumacher's front right tyre collided with the rear of the McLaren. It was a catastrophic moment. His car was heavily damaged, and the dream of another win disappeared in a flash. Fuming with rage, Schumacher stormed back to the pits, threw his steering wheel, and charged straight to the McLaren garage to confront Coulthard. The scene was intense. Schumacher accused Coulthard of trying to kill him, while Coulthard, still wearing his helmet, defended his actions. Team members from both sides had to physically intervene to stop the situation from escalating further. Later, Coulthard condemned Schumacher's behaviour as unacceptable, stating that a driver of his stature should show better control. The final twist: Jordan's dream realised. With Schumacher out, Damon Hill regained the lead. Ralf Schumacher, meanwhile, was flying through the field. The gap between the two was shrinking rapidly. Then, when Fisichella and Nakano collided, the safety car was deployed once more, and Ralf lined up directly behind Hill for the restart with 12 laps to go. Suddenly, Jordan was on the brink of not just a win, but a historic 1-2 finish. It would be their first Grand Prix victory and a podium sweep no one had seen coming. However, the team had a dilemma. Should they let the Schumacher brothers fight it out or preserve the result? Hill, feeling the pressure, voiced his concerns over the radio. He warned that a battle between teammates in such treacherous conditions could throw everything away. Jordan hesitated, considering both the race implications and Ralph's ongoing contract negotiations. He was already lined up to move to Williams the following year. Eventually, the team instructed Ralf to hold position behind Hill. Ralf wasn't pleased. His engineer, Sam Michael, repeated the order multiple times before finally getting a terse acknowledgement from the younger Schumacher. Despite being visibly annoyed, Ralf complied. Barely. Behind them, Alesi mounted some pressure, but couldn't quite threaten the Jordan duo. Frentzen and Diniz lost ground, and Jarno Trulli brought home a point for Prost, despite being lapped twice. Irvine also crashed out, completing a double DNF for Ferrari. It was a frustrating day for Maranello. A famous finish. The race ended on lap 44, with Damon Hill crossing the line to secure Jordan's first ever F1 win. Ralf Schumacher followed in second, delivering the team's only 1-2 finish in its history. Eddie Jordan's ecstatic celebration in the paddock, a now iconic dance, reflected just how unlikely and emotional this victory was. Michael Schumacher, despite appearing during the podium celebrations, was clearly still seething. In fact, he would later crash the Jordan post-race party, allegedly threatening that Ralf would never race for the team again. True to his word, Ralf would leave for Williams after securing one final podium with Jordan at Monza. Michael ultimately lost the 1998 championship to Häkkinen. Had he won at Spa, he would have entered the season finale at Suzuka with a 6-point lead. Instead, he found himself trailing by 4, another example of how Spa shaped the outcome of an entire season. The legacy. Only 8 of the 22 cars that started the 1998 Belgian Grand Prix made it to the finish line. 13 cars were eliminated due to crashes or contact, with Esteban Tuero being the only driver to retire due to a mechanical issue. He might not have scored any points, but he survived what many still call the most dramatic Grand Prix in F1 history. To this day, Spa 1998 is remembered not just for its chaos, but for the raw, unfiltered drama that unfolded over 44 unforgettable laps. In an era where wet races now often end behind safety cars, it's hard to imagine we'll see anything like it again.